Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. It's a new week of comics, the first week of new comics of the new year. And in our hands is two of those releases, both of them about Wonder Woman, both of them graphic novels from DC Comics. We're going to focus on this one, Wonder Woman Harbinger. So this one's is aimed at the young adult readers, and it's an adaptation of a prose book, apparently. That's not something that I've ever read, so I don't know it. It's adapted by Louise, Simonson, a legendary writer, and then originally written by Leigh Bardugo, who did the prose novel, illustrated by Seaton. Arts, I'm seeing if there is... Oh, sorry, there we go. And then we got colors by Sara, Woolley. This is what I was looking for. Letter by Deron, Bennett. So this is towards more the YA readers. It's interesting. It kind of adapts Wonder Woman's story in a different way. Instead of Steve Trevor coming on Themyscira, another character does, who winds up being a descendant of Helvin Troy. She's what's known as the Warbringer, and potentially the destruction of the world will happen due to her. So Wonder Woman has to go on a quest to save her. Of course, leaving Themyscira is a whole issue unto itself. So it's a really interesting read. I liked it. Like it's a different twist on Wonder Woman. I think there's a lot of issues it touches upon, and does so kind of in an intelligent way, in a subtle way. It was Wonder Woman as, I would say, kind of like a teenager, maybe a little bit older of a teenager, 16, 17 maybe-ish, who winds up going into kind of man's world. She's dealing with sexism through it, and she's also dealing with xenophobia. There's some touching upon LGBT stuff. And it's really about outsiders. We've got a character coming to Themyscira who's an outsider, and then Wonder Woman eventually going out into the world of man, being an outsider in that. So it's a very interesting read. And I liked it. Like I don't know quite how to describe it. Like, it definitely has a different vibe than some of the other releases that have come out. The other releases, I think, very squarely feel like they are for like 14, 15-year-olds, maybe 16, stuff like that. Like, there's this solid thing. This one, I'm not quite sure who the intended audience is, and that's not a knock on it at all. It's just, there's kind of a tone about it. There's a maturity about it that doesn't quite fit other, like, squarely in this position. But the story I really enjoy. I mean, it's interesting is the piece that they sent, the little write-up about it, says 13 to 17. I don't know what age I would give this to. Definitely, like, maybe a 15-year-old would enjoy it. Maybe, I'm not quite sure. Like, it doesn't quite feel right for, like, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. And it doesn't quite feel right for, like, 16, 17-year-olds. Like older teenagers. So, like, I'm not quite sure. Like, maybe 15 is the prime age for this. I'm not positive. And again, I don't know if as a 15-year-old I would really have dug this. But I generally really like the story. I think it's a cool twist on some of the Wonder Woman mythos that we know, and dealing with themes that Wonder Woman has dealt with in other stories in an interesting way, and it doesn't quite feel forced. It all feels very natural, and it touches upon them. It's not like this is something that's underneath it. The xenophobia and maybe feminism, intersectionality, stuff like that, stuff is like, there's moments where it's there, as opposed to these are themes throughout. The big theme that seems to be really going through all of it, I think, would be self-discovery, just as Wonder Woman is discovering herself and other characters are discovering themselves. And definitely inner strength of Wonder Woman, like, really finding her own and figuring out her place in the world and in the Amazons, I guess in just the world of the Amazons and the world of man eventually. So it's good. It's a very interesting read. I don't know if it's my favorite release of this kind of age for DC, but I enjoyed it. Like, I'm not knocking it at all. I'm just trying to think of like where I liked it in my enthusiasm compared to some of the others. Like, if you're a Wonder Woman fan, or if you got like a younger reader who is a Wonder Woman, it's worth checking out. Like, it's definitely worth checking out. And I haven't read the prose novel, so I don't know how well of an adaptation it is. I'm not much of a prose reader, so you're gonna have to excuse me as far as that. The art is cool. Like, it's an interesting style to it in the coloring. That's what really stood out. So you see, there's like a lot of blues and grays in Themyscira, and then kind of it starts to shift when all hell breaks loose, and there's some uses of reds to kind of like emphasize stuff. But generally, it's just like, you can check out, there's kind of some cool art to it. But generally, it sticks to this like blue and gray style to it, and maybe a little green. I guess we'd call it some greenish. It's like that blue, gray, green area. It's a very unique look to it, and I dig it. Like, I like the style. I think it's a very unique visual story. There's nothing. It's good art, but there's not like crazy splash pages or anything like that really stands out. But overall, it's, I think, very solid work, and it definitely is good pacing. There's a lot packed in there. I guess maybe it's because this is adapted from prose, it feels a little bit different from some of the other ones that have been released. But it's good. Like, this is just it's a solid read that I think is worth checking out, and maybe starting the new year that way. So definitely for the Wonder Woman fans, and I would think maybe kind of that teenager age that is a Wonder Woman fan and maybe not digging the comic series, monthly comic series, and kind of wants more graphic novels to read. $16.99. It's not going to break the bank. It's out now in comic shops. It's going to be out in bookstores soon. They put it as young adults as to who this is for. So that's where I'm at for the recommendation. You can go get this in comic shops, as I said. Don't know if comic shops near you. There's a link beneath this video. Put in your zip code. Tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have affiliate links. Our affiliate links, so we get a small percentage of that. By doing that, you help support our site, though, so thank you so much. And speaking of support, I want to thank DC for hooking us up with a review copy. We appreciate it. And thank you for watching. Now, if you are into Wonder Woman, DC Comics, graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.